Hey, it's your CEO, Weekend Gabe, and thanks for watching Weekend at Gabe's. We hope that you enjoy this latest episode. While you're here, hit the subscribe button and follow us on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We have a wonderful guest tonight, Chicago's favorite, one of my favorite guests. He was on episode 13 of Weekend at Gabe's, which dates way back to late 2021. And he is back to talk about his new EP. It is Decidingly So. It is a pleasure to reintroduce Rich Jones back to Weekend at Gabe's. How are you, sir?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing good, Gabe.
Episode 13. That's when you first appeared. We are on over 150 episodes.
Let's go. That's awesome.
So I think Montana Max has been on more times than you, because we had him with you, and then we also had him with the Gyroscope album that you had previewed on episode 13 that ended up coming down the pipe like a few months later. So for a while there, he was trending in front of you as far as number of appearances, but you have caught up finally. So it is a pleasure to have you back, sir.
Man.
Let's get into this. First off, you're in LA, so you're on the West Coast, which is a perfect place to start with this new EP. It is Decidingly So. You and Goldenbeets, who is based out of Portland, right? You guys were spending some time together. You were telling me a little bit that you were at a wedding function, and you were like, "Hey, I'm in town. Let's knock this EP out." That's such a way to approach a new record.
Yeah, definitely. That's one way of putting it. I think just kind of the way that if I can maximize the experience, pleasure, and get somewhere kind of in the mix, like I don't want to say makes me feel less guilty. Feel like I'm walking away with in some instances something a bit more. Also just certain places aren't just part of my typical route. So if I get time to catch a rhythm and to meet some people, and Twitter has been such a great way to meet people that live in other places that I can have come. When I go to see them, like they all link and they show me great places to eat or whatever shit they're into. So it's kind of it was kind of one of those I'd been in touch with, and then it just happened that we were all able to kind of co down, and so it was just a really good vibe. Whether it was hanging with Goldenbeets or on the EP or my guy Old Grape God, or Eve, some really fun people. So yeah, I feel super lucky on the first visit, and met all the people that I could really mess with, like pretty slick. Also, shout out Televangel as well. Great dude.
What did you meet Goldenbeets through Twitter? I know you guys had done some work previously, but sort of where was the introduction of how you guys found each other?
Yeah. I mean, in this day and age, I feel like we just someone follows somebody, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
And then we got in tune, and we kind of got a couple things like the works, and then things kind of went dormant, and then this opportunity to Portland came up, and I was like, well, if you're in town, let's get it. That'd be great. And so it was really like everything just lined up for us to be able to have this really sweet experience. Hopefully I can reciprocate the hosting and show them a good time in Chicago too.
Yeah, for sure. We're messaging each other a little bit earlier this morning about Portland and the hip hop scene, and I was saying that Portland and hip hop aren't often things that you hear in a sentence together or at all. But like, what is it about Goldenbeets and his sound, or the Portland sound, that sort of resonated with you, or feels like it aligns to what you're feeling right now to do?
Say specifically, I think one thing I'd say that really stuck out to me, this isn't unique just to this place. It's kind of also just where I'm at in life too. It had been a minute since I'd been around people that make art every day, like
Sure.
actively, and but then also seem to also be able to find a really good balance between. And then I'm gonna go do something. We're gonna work really hard, and then we're gonna do something fun. And I just really deeply appreciated that. Just as often kind of at work, even if I'm off the clock, it felt nice who understood the need for release, and so that was pretty sweet. And on top of that, it's folks who are genuinely, fans of finding different ways to express themselves. Like I think with Goldenbeets, the experience of working with him specifically is that he's so even if it's not the take, there's not going to be any sort of crash and burn mentality, and just kind of being in that sort of reassuring environment. I really appreciate being in a we've got this sort of headspace. I think that allowed for us to get like we did, and then also get the records that we got. And also we were able to develop a real trust in each other.
Yeah.
So much love to him. I look forward to
I want to get into, since we're sort of unpacking the record a little bit, it is Decidedly So, which is dropping on Friday on your Bandcamp. Right now, there's the record Sting that's out there, the Sting, which has this wonderful sax flute via Eric Novak. It's a wonderful record, but also I think it kind of speaks to where you have this line that says it's a mix of where I'm from and where I'm at, and I think that's a great contrast to you shifting and moving towards different auras and different sounds, but still, recognizing that Chicago is inside you, but also, as far as a, sort of musical adventure, you have to explore and go to the people who are doing things you were doing 10 years ago, which were actively making music, and that was like every breath of life. And now that you as older statesmen in the music Chicago industry, maybe that's changed a little bit, but sort of getting back to that a little bit, I can see how you feel like you're dabbling in sort of both of these different areas, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this way as somebody who most likely won't. I mean, knock on wood, never has to move. I do appreciate getting out and seeing other things and being in different environments. I think one thing that I think helps too is places. So I rarely feel like not alone or understood when I go to a bunch of friends in New York. I have a bunch of friends in Los Angeles. It's like I have a show coming up, which will be yesterday when this airs.
Sure.
And it's been cool kind of hitting everybody up, thinking about, well, who do I actually have out here? And it was a nice little group of people that have that were in Chicago just from the last decade. So it's going to be kind of mini reunion vibes, which can go. So I say that to say it's that this is a place like Los Angeles. I knew my friend who the wedding was for. We were going to my friend. Shout out Sarah. But it definitely was something where saying that the people I was with were good folks, and they very much were. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those places I can't wait to go back. But I think generally trying to come to Chicago too, just because I know there's a lot of things that I appreciate about our home as well.
Yeah. Do you want to expand a little bit on this line that you have on there? Like, Chicago would have killed me if I didn't leave it.
If I never left it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can be really negative or feel like there's some sort of ceiling, and I think that's right, and that can lead to just destructive behaviors and tendencies and stuff like that, or relations with people that aren't so nice. So I
Sure.
think, you know, to grow as a person and to mature as an adult is having the ability to meet other people, to share space, to, feel seen and, my own. But then, over time, as I keep going back, that kind of slowly I have, and, I think having the ability to get out and see kind of the ability, especially if maybe I can't get away for a while, at least can like other places, or on the first day back kind of thing, kind of maybe take some of the perspective of distance from home.
Yeah.
It's funny what happens when you can't see the forest. Not so funny. It can get kind of dark. So I think, yeah, and it's tough for people, I think, just the idea of like, how do you do it? Where do you go? Who do you talk to about that? I think that's something I'm help with as someone who has been doing this a minute, is like, if there are people that want to know how to, know who they need to talk to in certain cities, I aspire to kind of be that person. It's easy, but we can make it easier if we do invest in each other and kind of sharing. I don't know shit. I'm just a guy who lives out of a suitcase when he goes places, and guest room or a couch. It's not luck.
Yeah.
But but that's the other thing, is like, especially if you're with like dear friends and stuff like that, it's nice to experience that closeness and kind of that aspect to it. So again, it never really feels like you're away from I don't know. I just comforted when I'm elsewhere, which I think really is that may be atypical, but for that, so far, that's been mostly my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask about one of the title songs on the new EP. It is decidedly so. Slurricane. This is something I heard. E40. I think he even had like a either like a energy drink, like a Slurricane that was out there for a while. We'll talk a little bit about what the nature of what you're doing there.
I mean, that was just like some slick kind of thing to say, and I'm pretty sure in Portland that I'd purchased some Slurricane, which is a strain of pot that I really like. It's a relative of mine who I'd picked them up for a long time ago. They just had said how good it made them feel, so I figured I'd give them a little shout out while I was just kind of, I don't know, sounded nice as a phrase, and then kind of went from there.
I didn't know there was a strain of it. I was just like, oh, that's that E40.
Yeah,
it's not.
No, definitely the E40 influence first. Like, oh, this is a new thing. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
actually
pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's actually a rum cocktail, not an energy drink. So I was like making sure I got that right.
Gotcha.
But either way, I was like, oh, he on the West Coast. He doing that Bay. Okay, let's see, Rich. All right. You got Green Slime on here, who is someone who's making some noise as well in the city. Jump on Hashish on this record. You don't have a lot of guest spots on here, so what made you want to throw Green Slime on there and collab on that record?
Something about that record to me just kind of around in like one of the Playmobil looking ass like Camrys or something. Just seemed like you'd be deep into like a hash spliff or something. And I think I was actually able to get some hash while I was out there too. People in my life who appreciate that. Slime fits the bill. Whenever I've think about my friend, but it just made perfect sense. Plus, I really appreciate how, so being able to just get a dope track with a dope beat, what's there not to love?
Yeah. Well, what about I know that you, when you were you seem to always be actively putting music out, but sometimes there's like little themes in the albums or in the music. Did you correlate some sort of theme in these 4 records that you wanted people to recognize? I know you kind of you're talking a little bit about the home away from home and finding comfort in travel and experiences and
Yeah,
different settings. But like, what is that kind of the message that you wanted people to walk away with?
definitely. I think the record can't. I released my last album, Smoke Detector. There was just so much going on that it was really tough to enjoy that kind of like any sort of real release around it. Like I didn't have a show around it or anything, so it was just people not talking about it. And then yeah, I don't know. I just it was challenging with my other work that I do. It was just taking up a lot more of my time. So it was just really feel artistic, and I just was
Mm,
feeling kind of burnt out and
sure.
work with that just because with Goldenbeets just because he's just so enthusiastic and just so like, man, this is, I think this will do me some good. So I think like what the theme of it is just I think it pertains to and alludes to like immediacy, kind of just like a step forward in a strong way for activism of mine, and what this collection of music has emotionally behind you know something like the Sting, for instance. I think it's just the sort of epic instrumental outro to it that Eric does. It's about embracing what it is, and I think it has been, as you said, you can use the word elder statesman. I guess I won't fight it. I have been doing this a long time. I'm really lucky that that I've been doing this for a long time. I still feel like things are moving in like a positive direction, and I'm growing, and not everyone into their 30s or even into their late 20s. So the fact that I've been doing this for almost 15 years is pretty crazy. And I think it's obviously you go through this life. There's no way you totally come out whole from you
Mm,
in spirit and otherwise. And so I think like part of the working a lot on is as I progress is if I'm going to continue, I need to let go. And I think it's really hard for artists sometimes to do that just because of how much art and or just how obsessed we can be about an idea of how something should be. And
sure.
so that like not great feeling. So yeah, I think as I think about the things that just I don't have time for anymore, right? That don't matter to me, that I don't have to be count. And I need to be, thinking about the things that do count and what and that can build towards those things and those goals. Like I think especially, looking I've been able to do, especially in traveling and seeing what else in my mind is as I get older, maybe I don't go out on tour, but I help the next generation help organize those things. Or, if it's people coming into the city and they want to do something, want to have fresh eyes on it in kind of a no pressure fun situation, what ways work in terms of like creating those environments or finding those environments so that it'll work for an artist. I think almost as exciting in some respects as writing a song, is just the different ways we find to work creatively in the service of others or an idea, or
Right.
it's marketing or, presentation, whatever you want to call it. I get a charge off that at this point, writing a good bar, it's all part of it, and so I don't feel like it's like me taking away. The thing it takes away from is you maybe just not getting as much music because I'm thinking about a whole mess.
Sure, absolutely. The new record that's coming out on Friday, it is decidingly so. Go support it on
Are you
Rich's Bandcamp.
are you decidedly
I said it is decidingly so.
decidedly with a
Decidedly. My bad. Listen, it's a typo on my notes. It is decidedly so.
all
The
good?
new EP. from our guest Rich Jones. Before we get out of here, today is Valentine's Day. I know that you posted something special with you and your significant other on these socials. How else does Rich spread love on Valentine's Day?
I tell the people who I love that I love them. You know, if I'm unfortunately I can't be with my lady today, which we got time. When I get back, we're gonna do something real special and nice. That's the thing with holidays and whatnot. It's been tough to everything else. I mean, like, to be honest, we had a whole bunch of health situations with my family around this last holiday. And, like, we were opening Christmas or holiday presents like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Think about where, like almost into February or like late January. So, like, you know, a day obviously to everyone. But I think, I appreciate just, when we can find the right time to do it. Well, let's do that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think too, if you want to spread love, call up somebody you've been talked to in a while and just say you've been thinking about them, and that'll make.
There you go. That's good advice. Rich, thank you so much for joining us to talk about the new EP. It is decidedly so. It is out there on Friday. Go run that up. Support Rich, one of the best musicians to come from the city of Chicago. I appreciate your time. Safe travels, and I can't wait to see you when you get back. Thanks for watching this latest episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you're looking for more, click on any of the episodes swirling around my head. And also, don't forget to follow us on the socials at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. All right, thanks for watching, y'all.